So I think we are, I believe we're now live, and I believe we are recording. So I believe we are all set up as much as we need to be, which is superb. So thank you for those of you who are listening live today to this live stream. We'll probably go on for about sort of half an hour, 45 minutes or so. Those of you listening to the recorded version, I hope you find it useful. If you've got any questions at all, please feel free to send us through any questions you got as we're talking. Feel free to interrupt us as we go by putting your questions in the chat or in the comment section below. For those of you who don't know me, I'm James Osborne. I'm a non-exec director and advisor to a number of different recruitment organisations, both in the UK and overseas. And I'm also the co-founder of the Recruitment Network, which is a large community of recruitment business leaders all around the world, all hanging out together, helping each other share best practice and navigate through good times, bad times, and just about everything else in between. We've got a great panel today, so I'm very excited to welcome our two guests today to sort of spend the next half an hour chatting to me about the market, about what's going on and about their insights. They both come from industry, they both run great recruitment organizations, so hopefully the content today will be very prevalent and very useful for those of you listening. So first, I'd like to introduce Barbara McGrath, who is the Managing Director of Brightwater. So Barbara, welcome today. Can you give us a bit of an overview of you, your background and Brightwater for us, please?
Yeah, no problem, James. Firstly, thank you. Delighted to be here. Delighted you're the compere, and a very big thank you to Bullhorn, who I'm a great fan of at this point. So Brightwater is a specialist professional recruitment company based in Dublin. We have offices in Dublin and Cork. The group comprises that specialist recruiter. Also, we've got a mentoring company that sits within the group. And we've just acquired a niche marketing recruitment business at the latter part of last year. In total, we've got roughly 35, 36 sales consultants. The company is 50, supported by all the CSS pieces, marketing, finance, internal IT and admin. So we work across 16 disciplines. We're mainly a perm business. I'd say about 80-20, wanting to disrupt that a little bit in 2022, 2023. But we work on the premise of inch wide, miles deep knowledge within the different sectors that we work. Very good cross-pollination. 2022 has started off with a bang, doing really well in the first quarter. Delighted to have COVID and all associated with it in the rearview mirror. And I'm looking forward to kind of talking about tech and brainstorming with both of you this morning. So yeah, over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Barbara. And we've also got Shane Simpson, who's the MD of TechNet IT Recruitment. So Shane, thanks for joining us today. Do you want to give us a bit of an overview of TechNet, please?
Yeah, thank you. And again, thanks for inviting me along. TechNet IT, we are 52 consultants across multiple brands. So we have 6 trading brands that we're operating through at the moment. We cover technology and marketing, e-commerce, exec search. We've been trading since 2001. We're on a year 2 of our 5-year plan for really aggressive growth, and we're tracking all the right numbers at the moment. The market is definitely helping with all of that, but we're not I guess we're not getting complacent around how the market is, I guess, making all recruitment businesses look better than they probably are at different points. So we focus very much on technology helping our consultants to be able to do their job with as little admin as possible, and giving the candidate and the client the best possible experience through the technology. I think that's been really key for us. So right from our website and application, messages go out to the candidate. They're able to update their record within Bullhorn, and then we have various different automations and cool things running, which we'll talk about through the session, which help not only the consultants to do their job and not forget things, which, let's face it, we're all spinning many plates, so it's easy to forget things at times. So lots of the core fundamentals are taken care of by by robots running around in the back of our systems, which is great. And yeah, I mean, I guess from our point, COVID was interesting. I think the start, we actually bought Herefish in the April that we were just locked down, and I saw that as our way out of the mess that was COVID, and I took it as a BD tool actually at the time, and it did exactly what I needed it to do. We were, canvassing our clients and so on right from day one, and we also acquired an agency in that April as well, Cranberry Panda, which I'm sure many of you will know, and we phoenixed that in the September of 2020, and they're doing phenomenally well. They're up to 10 consultants, and they should be at 20 by the end of this year. So exciting year, exciting plans, lots to do. But yeah, very good.
Fantastic. No, super. Well, thank you both for joining us, and again, thank you for Bullhorn for putting this on today. I'm going to touch on a couple of things that that you both said straight away, and also I'm going to touch on the Bullhorn grid report, which I think will be available. There'll be a link in the bottom of where you're watching this today, so you can link to that. But if you haven't found it yet, do have a good look out for the Bullhorn grid report. It's absolutely superb and give you a really good insight into some, I suppose, the market temperature more than anything else at the moment. We're talking about the market at the moment. There's no doubt this is an incredible market. I think everyone's having an incredible time at the moment. Record months, record quarters everywhere. We're often asking the question: are people doing really well because of the market or because of what they're doing? Which I think is something that you touched on there, Shane, as well. If we look at the Bullhorn grid report, however, there's one of the questions that's coming up at the moment, or one of the things that's coming up, is about around market uncertainty. And I think we've gone through an extraordinary period over the last couple of years. We've sort of coming out of that, and then we're now going into another extraordinary period with everything that's going on around the world, and whether it be from the Ukrainian situation or otherwise. Just a quick sense check from both of you in your markets and what you're seeing. Are you nervous about the market conditions at the moment, and do you think it's going to have an impact short term on your business strategies and these buoyant markets that you have at the moment? Barbara, I'll kick off with you over in Ireland.
Yeah, no, yes, you would always have some kind of trepidation. There's no doubt. You're not going to have withstood COVID, move forward. The Ukraine is definitely going to have an impact, I think. We're already seeing it, particularly in the tech space internally, with people moving. That the moving is the movement of people is much more difficult. Of the 16 professional areas that we work across, and we have an executive search arm to our business as well, we're seeing the trickle down. We've probably never had as many requests from an inward investment perspective, from companies that are coming in to do exclusive pieces of work. We've won some significant business over the last year, and I would say we just went live with Bullhorn. It was implemented last year, and Shane is a little bit ahead of us on that tech at the moment. But we do have Herefish, which we're now really enjoying, and it's fabulous, and it takes a lot of the admin away from the consultants. But trepidation, yes, but I think as recruiters, show me a recruiter that isn't positive. And I think we are blessed with the bottle half full rather than half empty. And I think that comes in our business definitely from the top. I'm always looking at how to improve. What more can we do? What can we add? I mightn't be the greatest techie in the world. If any of my guys are on today, they'll laugh, but I absolutely know what I want to get out of the business. And less admin, more doing the job, which is sell, sell, sell. It's working in 90-day cycles for sure. Brightwater very much does that. So it's working in those quarters. And we've got some areas that are struggling a little bit more from a candidate perspective. I'll mention one area that isn't as buoyant candidate wise is legal. But then we've got an accounting area that's absolutely flying. Our tech area of the business, they can't keep up with the amount of business that we have. And a lot of it is retained. And the way you get retained business is asking for it. You get exclusive business by asking. So we put a huge emphasis on training people. We've had very little attrition within our company. So we've got serious longevity of people who are very knowledgeable in their areas. And I think that really does help when you're dealing with clients. So yeah, there's a little bit of trepidation, but you know what? We do this and we do it well. So it's positivity all the way, but not being detrimental. And a bit like Shane, we are looking at acquiring different things this year, and we're already working on that in the background. And we keep our people, you know, I keep them informed of what we're doing. We're all on a journey together, and it's the easiest way, particularly with hybrid working now. It would probably be easy to feel that you're not being included. I think communication is huge, and how we market ourselves. Marketing is a key part of what we do to keep our name out there.
And thank you, Brian. There's loads of stuff in there. I'm going to unpick some of those in a second. I think you know, if you look at some of the data that's coming out at the moment, there's definitely more an increase in market uncertainty generally, but yet at the same time, we're still seeing spikes in permanent contract recruitment and vacancies. So I don't think it's really touching the industry and the recruitment sector just yet. Shane, are you feeling that as well?
I have to say, I don't know if I should be nervous, but I'm not. The reason I'm probably not is that we spend a lot of time with our consultants on how they go out, talk to our clients and our candidates and represent our brand. They know what our value proposition is for each, you know, whether it be our client as a candidate or our client as a client. They have a very good and forthright understanding of what we actually do as adding value to our customers. Because I think it's really easy to get dragged into, it's a really busy market, there's loads of opportunity, oh, we could take that, we could take that, we could take that. And actually we qualify our customers and clients in as much as you know, we're, you know, presenting ourselves in, you know, what we do, and you know, when we pitch, we're also ascertaining, do we actually really want to work with you? Can we work together as a partnership? Are you just valuing us as somebody who's going to provide you with CVs? Well, that's not how we're going to work best. So we'll probably leave it there, and thank you very much, and you know, good luck. And it may come across a little bit arrogant, but I think actually what we've experienced is that we've looked over our last 3 years of data using Cube 19, and we've looked at, we grade all of our jobs, ABC, and then we also grade them on fillability. So we know that a C job, we fill 2% of our C jobs taken on, and they would be at, you know, lower fees. So probably sort of 17% kind of level, no direct hire and manager contact, and, you know, all that kind of really bad stuff. We just don't touch that anymore. If we grade that at the first opportunity and say, well, you know, that's a C job, it's just like, well, look, you know, these are the things that we would need from you to get this elevated up to be in a B job. And actually, even at a B job right now in this market, it's going to be, you know, a tough task for us to take this on. Much more of our deals come from A. We fill 85% of the jobs that we take on A, and currently we're filling 50% of jobs that we take on at any point. I think recruitment is probably one of the only, you know, professional services that people expect you to work for free at the start. You know, if you go and see a lawyer, you're on the clock. You know, so a lot of what we do is based on commencement. So we want to know that the client is really serious about hiring that individual, because it is harder to find candidates at the moment. It is a longer process to convince the candidate that this opportunity could be worth speaking about, and then nurturing them through that process. It takes more time. It takes better consultants as well. So you have to spend the time training them to get them to be where you need them to be for the market that we're in.
I think there's been a definite shift, Shane, and I agree with you on that, about this piece around, I think a lot more recruitment businesses now don't work on jobs they're not going to be able to fill. They get paid for their time now as much as they get paid for the outputs. And I think that's a really important piece, whether it's retained or whether it's otherwise, and all the different products that you can offer. And I think that's a really exciting shift, I think, in the marketplace. That's adapting to the market conditions, I think.
And I personally, I'm delighted to hear you talking about Cube 19, because on our Bullhorn journey, we have Hairfish. Cube 19 is coming in next week. Can't wait, because we've been doing that from a manual perspective, and it's just onerous. The press of a button, wow, what more? And clarifying your clients, hugely important. And I don't know, I think we're optimistic people, but we've got to be very opportunistic as well. We've got to look at areas for our business which will give opportunity to do more.
Yeah.
And technology is a huge part of that.
Well, let's talk about that. So again, in the grid report, again, digital transformation, number 2 priority for most recruitment businesses right now. I'm not convinced I'm not convinced every recruitment organization knows what that actually means, what that looks like. So there's a little bit of understanding of what does digital transformation mean, what does a good tech stack actually look like, and so on and so forth. We at the Recruitment Network are massive believers in this concept of 24/7 recruitment, where the idea is, I want people to go home and have a work-life balance, but when they go home and their laptops close down, I want a whole lot of stuff to be happening in the background behind the scenes. So when they come back in the office next morning, that's already been created. Shane, give me a bit of an overview, if you don't mind, of well, let's start with not actually your tech stack, but your thinking around technology. So why are you embracing tech as much as you are? Is it dumbing down the recruitment process, or is it actually enhancing how we work? What's your strategy behind tech?
I hated admin as a consultant.
Right, fine.
That's true.
So my big driver was, how do I keep my staff happy? As salespeople, they have to be selling. So the driver for me was, and we have a slogan internally, it's "We hate admin." Simple as it is, things like emails being automatically stored in Bullhorn for conversations. We have various things that are just in place just to allow us to have the better conversations, the conversations that they should be having, exploring with their clients, what are the projects and programs that they're working on this year? What does that mean for their business? Where do we fit in? What should we be pipelining for? How do we get closer to those clients? And with our candidates, making sure that we're interviewing them so that we're presenting the best possible solution to our clients that we've really qualified. I think our CV to interview ratio is too good at the moment. Actually, I think we should be providing a little bit more, option for the client. And I think that's probably the only slight negative that I could take out of what we do. And that's something that we are addressing, because the wild card so often gets the job. But we're able to track all of that through Cube 19. It's the mindset of our business is around, doing the activities that actually add value. The whole Pareto's law, 80-20, you should be doing 20% on the 80% that adds value. And that's, we're quite focused on those activities.
And so with that, and I don't want to set up all your consultants now for a rough ride over the course of the next couple of months, but have your expectations now gone up of what a recruiter should be producing? Because I've got some data and some expectations around average GP figures and what was good 2018, 2019, what was good now, what is good now. Have your expectations gone up with regards to what people should be, their performance and output should be? And based on 2 things, is it aligned to the crazy market conditions we're in, when basically people are throwing jobs at us, but also at the same time, also the fact that you just pumped in a load more cost, let's be honest, and resource and tech to make them more efficient. So we're making their lives easier in theory. Have targets gone up, and are they achieving them?
Yes, and yes. In short, the market alone, our market salaries are up 20%. So you would expect that to lift with the consultant targets. What we do, we have a very open and clear structure. So based on your billing target, that will dictate what you get paid. And then you need to uphold that for 6 months, to be eligible for a promotional meeting and discussion. And then, targets change at each level and so on. What we've done though, James, is we've actually we adopted the 4-day working week relatively early. We did that sort of June last year. And actually what we found is that although we're able to get more out of each consultant, we are able to do it in less time.
Yeah.
It does give them that Friday. We call it a flex Friday. So if they're not where they need to be, then it's flexible for them to be in doing their work, right? If they're where they need to be, then it's flexible on where they need to be and what they need to do. If they want to go and play golf, or they want to, you know, do whatever it is that makes them happy, they get an extra day on the weekend to do that. And I think there's a bit of a balance. You know, I think it's not just we're giving you all of this, what more can we get out of you? Because I think if we treat it transactionally like that, I think it won't be long before somebody else treats them better. And I think retention is something that we're very keen on. You know, we want to propel forward and grow with great people in our organization. Actually hiring, onboarding, training, all of that kind of stuff, it takes a long time to get people, you know, where you need them to be. So I want to protect the ones that we've got. So yeah, I think yes, and you know, we're also, there's that flexibility in there as well, because we're saving 1,000+ hours a week on admin tasks by using Herefish.
1,000 hours a week.
1,000 hours plus a week.
Excellent. So you're giving some of that back to the recruiters to take some time out on a Friday, some of it back to the business to do more, which is possible.
Let's face it, it sounds better than it is, because on Friday they're closing deals. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's a really good concept, and that's a good takeaway for me. I have to say it's a good way of working it. I think from our perspective, tech, I think as leaders of businesses, we have had to for years embrace tech, and I think what COVID did was it's fast forwarded everybody probably about 5 years, to be honest. I don't know that I could have ever envisaged you not being in the office for at least 3, 4, maybe even 5 days a week. But now it's that work-life balance stuff has just evolved. And now it's, for me, it's kind of what more can we do? And with all of the tech that we've added to our stack, I think even still we would struggle with some of the recruiters where, you know, they're not even running the tech in as good or seamless a way as they should. And I think that's probably our next challenge, to make sure that optimum time doing the job and making it work for you is the truth. It's early in our journey with Bullhorn, but now we've got, you know, Bullhorn, Herefish, Cube 19, and what's next? And our internal IT is constantly looking at trends. Where are things coming from? What should we be looking at? What can we add? How easy is integration? And right now we've got a very good platform to be able to integrate other pieces onto that system to make the journey more seamless. And speed to market is something in a candidate shy market that's going to be really, really important. So we need to be first up. We need to be best dressed. We need to be talking to people. We need to be attracting people. And that's where the marketing piece comes in. Marketing and how you market your brand, you know, how you market the individual consultants. I've been banging on for probably the last year, build your own persona. You're part of the group, build your own persona. People still buy from people. You buy from somebody that you're comfortable with. You go back to people that you're comfortable with. And I can say in our business, and this is across the board, more than 80% of our business is repeat business. And because we work at a senior level in specialist areas, our candidates become our clients. So you want to get that cycle as seamless as you possibly can.
No, definitely. And it's just touching on the last bit we finished off with Shane. You know, there's a lot of comments coming in actually interesting on the LinkedIn Live, talking about how people are actually giving themselves half days off, you know, full days off, 4-day weeks now. Yeah. It's becoming a lot more of the norm. And I find all this really fascinating, because we're building far more tech-driven, streamlined, automated machines as recruitment businesses, and we're sharing the reward back with our employees. I think that's really genius when you think about it. It shouldn't be genius because it sort of makes a lot of sense. But I think that flip in the relationship between employees and employers, employees owe the employer. Now it's like, well, let's actually work together collaboratively. In exactly the same way, you talk about like speed to hire as a metric, and I think this is a huge important metric. And I think you can put a euro or a pound value down to every minute it takes in the recruitment process, either elongated or shortened, to how that hits your bottom line contribution. The piece that I think we miss sometimes, and I think this is due to our relationships with clients, and maybe Shane, you're looking this now a little bit with how you're treating your client base and that conversations you're having, is we're not penalizing our customers for not being speedy in their reply and in the way that they're working with us. And I think that there's a shift now. We've seen it across the membership. A lot of companies where they're now actually saying, well, this is a partnership. We're going to improve speed to hire. We're going to bring in tech. We're going to spend more money to deliver to you. It's going to cost us more to place a candidate with you. But you, Mr. or Mrs. Client, need to bloody well show up as well and do your bit back to us. Otherwise, we're going to penalise you. Shane, are you at that level of relationship with your clients yet?
Yeah, we have SLAs with our clients.
Yeah.
So we agree on SLA. The fee goes up if they don't stick to the SLAs. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah,
good.
Likewise, and
it's great to get commitment, and things do move much more smoothly when it's going to cost them an extra couple of grand to do the same job. Just work in partnership. Do what you say you're going to do. Yeah. We will, and this will be exactly what it was prescribed to be. If you don't, then it changes for us too. So it stops us from helping somebody else. So there's a cost associated with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we move out of the internal side of the Bullhorn tech stack, which you guys are using from Cube and everything else, let's look at it from an external point of view. The biggest challenge, not the biggest, one of the biggest challenges, this is definitely coming out obviously out of the Bullhorn grid report, is candidate acquisition. So candidate shortages, candidate tightening, whatever you want to describe it. I still believe there's plenty of candidates out there. I just don't think we just got to be better at finding them. Personally, that's a personal thing. So we just need to up our game as sorcerers and recruiters. But what are you doing from a technology standpoint, from a candidate acquisition perspective? And Barbara, I'll kick this off with you. So if I was to say to you, okay, what are your top 3 initiatives right now? And I do want you to give away your hidden secrets, please. What are the top 3 strategies you're driving your recruiters to do to go and unearth candidates and talent that maybe we're finding it harder to find at the moment?
Market themselves, firstly. The marketing for me is key. Market themselves, build their own brands, build their own networks. We still are part of all the different affiliations across the professions that we're dealing in, but don't always look to LinkedIn. With all due respect, don't always look to LinkedIn. We do have a database. We have passive candidates. I think recruiters will always look for the next shiny toy as such. Don't forget what's in front of you. And I think we always have kind of made a few notes about how we do it. And I think we spend an awful lot of money on LinkedIn for sure. And I think from a Brightwater perspective, it's probably the way that we engage with candidates more so than any other job board this minute. We use all the job boards, but I think
are you going to carry on using those job boards?
Yes, we are.
Just with the quadrupling of their pricing right now.
Well, I've haggled. I do all of the haggling on that myself, to be quite honest with you. I do haggle, but I also give the job boards feedback as to where they are in our pecking order. And without giving away trade secrets as to how much we made from Joe Blogg's board last year, I will tell them they have dropped. There's quite a significant drop in some of the boards, to be honest. And I think that's good feedback, because I've actually seen them personally. They take much more of an interest in us. They're trying to look at their own products And that can only help. And we've partnered with a couple of recruitment companies overseas where I'm well connected. And now that the world is beginning to open up again, there are opportunities there, both going both ways, going to Australasia, coming back. Yeah, there's opportunities everywhere. And LinkedIn, the world is now a small place. I would say, you know, we talked before we came on live about, you know, how many branches do you have, Shane? Barbara, how many branches? It doesn't really matter where you're sitting. It doesn't really matter where you have your branches, because the world is a small place with the likes of LinkedIn, but it's being very smart yourself about your own brand and what kind of forums you as a recruiter are joining and making yourself an integral part of. So movement should come from movement, and then all the usual pieces, the referrals, you know, asking your colleagues. We share an awful lot of information on a weekly basis internally. Bullhorn makes it seamless from a system perspective, but we're still talking to each other every week. We have set forums internally where communication, I think, is everything. And yes, candidate shortages, but I come from where you come from, James. I believe they're out there. We just got to find them. There might be needles in haystacks, but hey ho.
Well, whilst we've got competition, they must be other candidates other people are placing. So that's
there you go. There you go.
I do have a personal sort of strategy though, that I think we as an industry are spending too much time on personal branding and not enough time on partnering with our clients to do employer branding. Because ultimately, and I'm not disputing what you're saying, Brian, because I think you're absolutely spot on. If you want to stand out, you've got to get your personal brand out there. But the reality is, you know, if we're working cleverly with our partners, our customers who are partners, the candidates out there want to engage with the brands. We are just a facilitator of that process ultimately. And I think that's I love the idea. And we're seeing a lot more recruitment companies now spending a lot more time opening up revenue streams and increasing their service offering to include EVP work with their customers and proper EVP work. I'm not saying, you know, here's a quick landing page and here's a bit of a sort of a social campaign. It's like, no, we're going to spend 30, 40, 50,000 pounds on this one campaign for this one particular client, because you've retained us £500,000. So why wouldn't we invest 50 grand to make it work? Otherwise it necessarily won't work. Shane, from your point of view, give us your secrets so some people know. How are you getting that? You're placing one out every 50% at the moment. So how are you doing it?
For database.
Your database.
For our database. So we place, out of all the placements that we make, 50% of them are all on our CRM already. We know that we procure that data from job boards and from LinkedIn. And we have taken quite huge steps to address that internally. We've made all of the consultants aware of that, changed our process on where they go to look first. The way that we search our CRM is, obviously we're on Bullhorn. The way that we search it is changes between, we use Sourcebreaker, we use another product, we have obviously stuff running in our CRM that allows Herefish, and we also have another tool called Source Whale, which we basically, anyone who's in our CRM and we can procure from a job board is shortlisted immediately, and that happens to run a cascade of effects that of interactions with candidates on outreach. And then we have a similar concept when we're looking at it from a LinkedIn perspective via email and LinkedIn. We have something very clever called Sourcewell running those campaigns. So I guess from our perspective, we know the candidates are in our CRM. We know that they're our IP, and that's our USP. Every other recruiter out there has the same job boards. They're looking at the same candidates. Are they doing it quicker than you? Maybe. Do you have your watchdog set up? Are you doing it every day for your 24s? All the stuff that we used to do as consultants. I was a big believer of the database when I was a consultant. I used to build my own hot list and have my own holding areas for my candidates that I spoke to, and I knew when a client came to me with a job, I would go, okay, it's that person. and I would be able to place that person. The world hasn't changed that much.
No.
You know, it's still putting the right candidate in front of the right person, and then lo and behold, you have a deal. So having more time to get to know your product is only going to make you better at placing them.
And it's actually making sure that the consultants, we use Daxtra for that, which is always working in the background. So that's giving you the list. So, you know, when you're sleeping, somebody's working on your behalf. You got to use it, but you got to be smart about it.
Yes.
And don't forget recruitment. Recruiters do forget. They look at the shiny new thing. It's making sure when you take the drudge and the admin out of it, they've got to put their brains into a completely different mindset, and that education piece is really important.
Yeah, but as you said before, that starts from the top, though, right? Because we as leaders are bringing in all these new shiny things because we think it's great. So, like, let's give people what they need to do the job and then get out of the way.
For sure.
It's a really important thing.
For sure.
I think on the candidate acquisition piece, there's quite a lot of work that we've been doing over the last sort of 6 to 12 months and doing some really good inroads with this. Is around proper community building, so building proper candidate communities and talent pools from that point of view, but not just the standard stuff. The second one is around referral programs. I always find it incredible when you talk to a lot of recruitment companies or any business that matter and say, you know, what's your best source of placeable candidates? Oh, it comes through referrals. Okay, great. What's your referral program and how does it work? We don't really have one. It's like 50 quid voucher, all that type of stuff. So I think there's some really interesting plays that you could do around referral programs. And then the third one, which is links into that, which touched on the question that Harley has put in around a little bit around the candidate experience, really. So getting the candidate experience to be incredible. How do we get feedback from how the candidates are feeling through the interview process, for example, with clients? And we know if we look at some of the work that Recruiter Insider has done, as you know, Recruiter Insider, we think it's a brilliant tool. And some of the work that they've done around assessing the impact of that first engagement piece or that client to candidate interview process, the data that proves how the good and bad of what that can do to like placement data. I think it's something like if you get that piece right, you get 2.2 times more perm deals happening than you would do if you got that first piece right. So what are we doing as recruiters to help our customers improve that initial engagement piece, as Harley was saying, that sort of how they're feeling during that interview process, etc., etc. Are we measuring any of that?
We have, yes, we do. Sorry, I'll step in and very quickly. We have candidate charters. That's something you go through with the candidate and you get them to sign off. You can also, not only clients are exclusive, candidates actually should be, and the only way they will be is if you actually ask them. So we have charters where, you know, if we're going to work with somebody, we get them to sign up to working that charter. So you're constantly, we're reviewing what the feedback is like. So, you know, it's not just a spray and pray and put somebody into a role. You're doing the first week, first fortnight, first month, second month, third month, and it's an ongoing thing. Yeah, it's sales.
No, absolutely. Let's touch that because Barbara, I know you well enough to know that you use the word sales like as if it's part of your day-to-day language and everything that you do, which I think is absolutely spot on. If we look at the top priorities coming out of the Bullhorn Grid report, we've touched on already: candidate acquisition, digital transformation, candidate experience, employer branding. So they're the top 4. And number 5 is winning clients. Now, it's interesting, isn't it? Because if you think about, we're in a marketplace at the moment where you can pick up clients for fun at the moment. It's not hard to win business, and yet it's still a massive priority. To me, that's the shift from saying actually it's winning better business, it's winning the right types of clients, swapping out the old ones who don't want to play the game properly, who don't want to pay us for our time, etc., etc. I'll start with Shane on this. I'm going to come back to you, Bob, because I know you love sales. Shane, from a sales point of view, client acquisition perspective, how are you utilizing tech to drive your sales strategy in particular?
We were. I think it was a huge part of us coming out of the pandemic. It was the main reason I purchased Herefish, because, you know, we took advantage of the furlough scheme like everybody else did. You know, and we didn't know what was going to happen, you know, and how long this thing was going to go on for. And it did drag on, didn't it? But so for that 3 months from the April that we took it, I personally spent time building out the automation. So I feel like I was really lucky to have that time at home with the family, but also I was spending time building out something that was going to propel my business forward out of this situation. So we have 160 automations running from Herefish, doing various things. And some of them are just pet peeves of mine. So I know that our data is great. If there is anybody on our database that we can't contact, they're deleted. They're just, after 7 days, if they haven't been updated, they're just gone. So from a data clarity perspective and all of that, it's been amazing. I think from customer acquisition, it was huge. That was the way that we could start to nurture, what's going on. We did some surveys and, we're going to be hiring and stuff like that. We do salary surveys for 3 of our big brands, and their salary guides that then go out to market. We just launched the Cranberry Panda one yesterday, so that's out available to download, and that's just a snapshot across the market. It's all acquired through our candidates and our clients within Herefish, and then obviously into the CRM. And that all updates their records as well, by the way, which is pretty clever. But we don't really now leverage much apart from, I guess, speculative CVs when we're positioning a candidate that we're taking out for a new relationship. And we do work exclusively with candidates, as Barbara said. We would take that candidate to 3 or 4 different clients and want to engage and have conversations. So we would do that, and I think follow up is something that people get bored of. All of our follow up stuff is automated. But
do you feel it still feels personalised? I mean, do you feel candidates still enjoy it?
We work really hard for that, and actually a lot of the consultants on Sourcewell, it's their own wording, so it's exactly how they would engage. On Herefish, it's something that we've worked internally around, and we're all happy with the content, that it's the way that we would position ourselves. So it's just, everyone typically would do the first part of that engagement. So they might reach out to a client once, lo and behold, they're not available to take a call. Our email would be sent by a click of a note. That would then take that email on, and then a process would follow for the ongoing weeks until some engagements picked up. So it just helps with that brand awareness and so on. That's as much.
And I think that's great that
we're doing with it.
Yeah, which is great. And I think, and we touched on this last time we spoke, Shane, but one of the things I find fascinating is there's a load of data out there that tells you the best time to engage with the candidate, best time to engage with the client, the best day to do that type of stuff. And yet we do stuff within our 4 walls of our daytime. So as long as it's within 8:30 to 5:30, that's the best time. When if the data says to me 7:30 on a Tuesday night is the best time to engage with the candidate, well, I need something happening, automated, running for me, or I need to be on the phones doing it myself. But either way, it's going to happen at that time. But that's the data telling us it's the best time to do it. Barbara, just give us a quick overview from your sales strategy side of things on the tech side.
Sales strategy on the tech side. God, where do I start? James? Look, I think we're slightly different than the UK this minute. In Ireland, and we've built a brand that is instantly recognizable for sure, but we've got a very good name from that professional perspective, and you cannot get arrogant or cocky, but we do get an awful lot of stuff coming in, rather than, it's probably more than 80% now is repeat business despite COVID, to be honest. And a lot of the inward investment piece that has come in is coming in through, we've got a very active executive area of our business, and we get a huge amount of referrals from the managing partner, the partner there. And then from the contingency perspective, all my senior directors are in the business for a long time. So we've got a very good network of people. Again, you can't be complacent. And the biggest challenge I think we've had in 2022 is actually really looking at what we do, how we do it, categorizing our clients, and making sure that the ones who want to beat you down to the lowest price in a candidate shy market are not the ones that we should be dealing with. as I said, I'm really looking forward to Cube 19 and getting that instantaneous info. But from our perspective, from a sales, it's talk to everybody, make sure that they know what we do and how we do it, but actually don't sell yourself short. Do be prepared to walk away if you have to, because there is enough business out there. We're not desperate to be dealing with companies that actually don't value what we do on a regular basis, and actually selling more retained business, that a third contingency. Obviously exec works like that anyway, but the retained business in Ireland, it's a very new concept. So it's beginning to work. Exclusivity, from my perspective, the more exclusive business we have, the more I can map how the year is going. The more I can now see what tech we need to add to keep making the whole thing more seamless for the consultants on the ground doing the day job.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I just want to reiterate on what you said there, if you don't mind. The turning away business piece, because we're in a candidate short market and that type of stuff. If I'm brutally honest, and you know me, you've heard me talk about this before, Brad, but we should be doing this 20 years ago, even if it's
for sure.
We spend too much time working with clients who treat us like absolute rubbish. I think that's a disgrace, but personal opinion on that one, but it's true. I think it's been expedited now more than anything else. I think the retain piece is really interesting, and I know that's probably a whole another conversation we can have. And I would love Bullhorn for us to set it up. But retained business is I think a lot of people are seeing this as some sort of dark art, and it's not a dark art at all. It's not something that's especially for the sort of executive search end of business. It's right the whole way through. And retain doesn't have to be the third of a third of a third. And a lot of the businesses that we work with now, their retained relationships are 10% rolling retainers. So that's a 10% upfront on a rolling monthly basis, locked in the client. That's enough to make sure they stay. And then the rest is on placement fees. And that's good enough for me, I think, in a lot of cases. The issue we have with retain, just by the way, is a lot of people don't like retain because they go, well, I do retain, but I don't fill it. And therefore I've got clients who are now annoyed with me because I'm not filling their job and they want their money back. And my answer to that's pretty simple, is you actually work because you want a retained job, and then actually you're filling it in a contingent way. So unless you do something completely different for the retainer, that's not the point of a retainer as far as I'm concerned. There's one question that came in. I'm going to wrap things up shortly. It was from Helen, who's asking around about video products, utilizing video. Now, obviously, Barbara, on the personal branding piece, video is massive as part of that, right? You know, getting your video, your name out there and your brand out there. Are either you guys using video tech in your sort of tech stack as part of your candidate engagement process and so on and so forth?
Yes, we are. It's not widespread across the agency, so it's not something that we've taken and just gone boom, everybody have it, because actually did a bit of a analysis across talking to everybody. You know, how would you find, putting yourself on video? And we had a lot of people that actually weren't that comfortable with it. And we had some people that were doing it already, taking to LinkedIn and doing video pitches to candidates and to clients. And we knew they would take it and use it. So those that have shown an aptitude for doing that, we're then rewarding them with a more of a slick product to take and integrate with the rest of our tech stack. We're using it for our internal recruitment. So our internal recruiter is going out pitching other recruiters with that. So we're using Odro. And for a sales perspective, I think it's working very well. We're getting some very, very good engagement from other businesses on that basis. And then one of our business development team was probably the first person actually to bring video pitching in. She's also out there using it to very good effect. And I think it's just won our first recruitment as a service offering this morning off the back of one of those pitches. So it's great as long as the person delivering it feels that it's natural and they come across it, really well. I've seen lots of wooden videos, and I think some people feel very uncomfortable about it, and it transpires across like that, and probably wouldn't land that well. So I think it's down to the individual.
No, for sure.
We've done quite a bit on the client piece of that, if that makes sense. Doing the videos with the clients that we're partnering with exclusively and letting them tell our journey. and we've got a brand ambassador, Gordon Darcy. He's obviously an ex-Ireland Lions rugby player. He kind of steps in and he does some of those interviews for us. But it's all about that selling piece and what was the client outcome from the videos. We can actually tell how many roles and how many jobs, how many other companies have come on to talk to us because of the way we use videography, which is, I think, has to be the way to go. We've got a full marketing team and they are flat out all the time. In fact, I could have more marketeers in the business.
Well, marketing is now sales, right? So I think we will probably agree
it
to
is.
that extent.
It is.
Although it doesn't replace sales. If anyone listening today, if you're a recruiter, you still have to pick
it's
up the telephone.
complementary.
Yeah, good. So the Bullhorn Grid, 5 priorities: candidate acquisition, digital transformation, candidate experience, employer branding, winning new business, winning clients, that type of stuff. Just to close things off, Barbara, I'll start with you. Your top priority for the next quarter, next 90 days?
My top priority is to hit budget, exceed budget, and get Cube 19 bedded in. And I'm already looking at the next best thing that's probably going to be part of our system at the end of May when I get back from my holidays. So there you go. Very
good. Shane?
For me, next priority is hiring. It's we have what we believe is a phenomenal offering. We have some phenomenal people working for us, and we just need more of them. We really are maximizing everything out of the consultants that we have. We just need to bring in some excellent people to add to that. And it's easier said than done.
It is.
It really is. So that's a big priority and number one. So I would leave it with that, to be honest with you.
Very good. And those of you listening live to this call, I'd love you in the comments just to write down your top priority as well for the next 90 days. It'd be really interesting just to get a sense from a couple of you of what your big focus is moving forward. In the meantime, I just want to say a huge thank you to Bullhorn for putting this on today and organising this today. Those of you who aren't utilising Bullhorn, do reach out and have a chat. At the very minimum, do reach out and get their Bullhorn Grid report, have a good understanding of what other people are up to, what they're thinking, what's going on. Certainly like to thank Barbara from Brightwater for your time as always. Barbara, lovely to catch up, you know that. Yeah. Hope you have a fantastic holiday. I'm sure you probably deserve one, and we've all had a long stint since the beginning of Christmas, since the beginning of the new year. And also Shane from TechNet as well. So Shane, love the work that you're doing at the moment, love the thinking that you're putting behind it. Look forward to watching the growth of the brands and moving forward. So thank you to you both for joining us today. Thank you for those of you who are listening live, and thank you also for those of you listening to the recording on this. I hope you found it of use. Other than that, enjoy these buoyant markets, but make sure you're not doing well just purely because of the market, but because of actually what you're up to and what you're doing in your business. Lovely to see you all. Thank you.
Thanks, James.